Rooftop tents, are they all they're cracked up to be, or do they actually suck? Whoa! My name is Matt Zeffi. I make videos about the outdoors, whether it be camping, overlanding, or the gear that I take with me to make that an even better experience. And in this video, I'm gonna share 5 reasons why you shouldn't get a rooftop tent. Starting with number 1, this thing can be costly. And I'm not just talking about the initial cost, which is a lot of money. It could be from $1,000 up to $5,000 and sometimes even more. But it's not just that. And for far less money, you can get a really solid ground tent. And I know what you're thinking, well, you'll save on Airbnbs and hotel costs. It really depends on how often you're actually going out there and traveling, on how much you will save if you were to get like a rooftop tent, but you'd save even more if you were to get a ground tent. So for that reason, that argument doesn't really count. And then there's this serious hit on fuel economy. I drive a Jeep Wrangler. I can't really afford any worse of a fuel economy, and yet with this rooftop tent, I lost probably another 2 miles per gallon, meaning I get probably like 14 to 15 miles per gallon with this car and the rooftop tent on top. And you could avoid this if you were to take the rooftop tent off when you're not in use, but it's kind of heavy and that's not a practical solution in my opinion. Overall, it's just not a good situation. So fuel economy, the expense of this entire setup, that's a major reason not to get a rooftop tent. Number 2, they add an extreme amount of noise. And again, this is a Jeep Wrangler and it already is very noisy. I have to scream if I have another person in the car, and the radio has to be turned up all the way to actually make out the voice of pretty much anyone. Add a rooftop tent to the mix and I've got a ton of wind noise. I do think a fairing would help with this a little bit. I haven't used a fairing on the front of my rooftop tent, and that might help a little bit, but I can't imagine it helping that much. So for that reason, the noise is really a setback of a rooftop tent. When I put this on my Jeep, I was thinking, hey, I could still take the front 2 parts off. That way I could still have that sort of fun Jeep that I could take the tops off and whatnot. But taking those front parts off, the amount of noise of the wind hitting that rooftop tent just made it too extreme that I end up never doing that. Number 3, this obviously affects the vehicle's overall performance. You're putting a lot of weight really high on the car, and Jeeps are already pretty top heavy, not to say that you're going to be using a Jeep, but it definitely makes it even worse. And when you're in the car, you can almost psychologically feel that weight, and it affects the driving performance overall. You can tell on turns, it just feels a little bit heavier on the top part of the vehicle. And for that reason, if you're all about efficiency of your car, one for the gas mileage and just overall vehicle performance, having this very non-aerodynamic piece on top of your vehicle means that it's not a good idea. Will you have to drive completely differently with a rooftop tent? Not necessarily, but you do want to be more careful since the handling is so affected. Number 4, having a rooftop tent so high up means that there's limited accessibility. So if you're maybe on the older side, this is probably not a good idea. And just overall, it can be a little dangerous coming in and out, having to climb a ladder each time. And especially in inclement weather when it's raining or snowing out. In fact, actually last year around this time, I was in New Hampshire and I was coming down from my rooftop tent and I actually took quite the spill. And then if you add a dog to the mix also, you're either going to have to carry a dog up into the rooftop tent or get one of those modified ladders, which can be quite a challenge for them. Let's say you have to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. You're going to have to climb down the ladder in probably the dark, cold night, and it makes it just that much more difficult. And I got to be honest with you, like it's very easy to slip and maybe put one of your feet in the ladder because it's such a thin step that it makes it quite dangerous. Look at this thing, it's practically falling apart. Ah man, this car is gonna drain my bank account. And number 5, you're pretty much stuck with your vehicle. So other people set up their ground tents and they drive off with their car and they are good to go. They're good to explore and they know that when they come back, they don't have anything to set up and they could drive around freely. Well, for you, you have to collapse your tent every time. If you have a soft rooftop tent, then you're gonna have to break down the entire thing, which is even more steps. And overall, if you just want to take your car out for, I don't know, you forgot milk at the supermarket or something, well, you're going to have to break down your entire camp just to drive, break down the ladder and everything. And maybe that doesn't seem like a lot, but it can be sometimes when you have everything set up, especially when you're setting things up around the camp. Like I always like to set up some string lights connected to the rooftop tent, and that pretty much puts my car out of commission for that evening if I don't want to pack everything up and then bring everything back out once I return with the car. All right, I know I said 5, but I got one more because this one really grinds my gears. The clearance on this vehicle. Now, I don't have a lift on my Jeep, which is a whole nother problem. But beside that, if I did have a lift on this Jeep, forget about it. I wouldn't fit in any garage spaces. I already don't fit in the garage space at my home, but every once in a while, I will have to actually go into New York City and take my car. And it can cost hundreds of dollars because this is technically an oversized vehicle with that rooftop tent, and it fits in no garages. It's really a problem. The car is just too high with the rooftop tent, and even if I were to switch from the heavy-duty crossbars that I have on there now to something like the Pioneer platform, which would probably save me a couple inches, I would still just barely make fitting in so many different low-clearance spaces and garage spaces. In fact, the gym I actually go to, I just barely fit in, and the gas station I go to as well, it can be a little questionable. I fit in there nonetheless, but again, if I got a lift on this Jeep, I would be no bueno, and I would not be able to go to the gym any longer. At least that one. But what do you think? Are rooftop tents a good idea? Are they a bad idea? Let me know in the comments down below, and if I missed any reasons why you shouldn't get a rooftop tent, again, let me know down in the comments. I would love to hear from you guys. And I also have a video on 5 reasons why I think rooftop tents are a good idea as well, so check that out at the link above. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hit that like button if you got anything out of this video or just enjoyed watching. And if you want to see more videos like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you out there on the road. Oh man.